you? How's it going? Let's start with the news about what's happening around the world right away. Well, the guidelines on the UFO topic are changing in the United States, an issue that draws attention. Also, there's an important tennis meeting in the United States SETI. The meeting they're having is being held in a rather discreet way. But the United States is gathering nuclear experts. Something is happening with the nuclear issue and the issue with Iran. And look, the ceasefire, if anyone still believed it was ongoing, well, the ceasefire is simply over now. There are interceptions in Bahrain, there are attacks in different places, even inside Iran. So let's get into the details because the conflict continues. Just days before the World Cup, less than a week before the World Cup starts, and the attacks, well, they're ongoing. So attention on this issue is reaching its peak, and security will have to be at its highest during the World Cup because obviously things could happen there. Hopefully nothing very negative, right? But look, let's start with the image. It's this image we're seeing here.
Here we're seeing an interception over Bahrain in the midst of the alarms that went off today because of the attack on Iran or the airstrike.
Well, we'll get into the details in just a few moments. But right off the bat, we're seeing interceptions over Bahrain, an oil-producing Gulf country, right now. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, to what's happening in this area. There are alerts in several regions. And right from the start, well, we also have to pay attention to the possible reactions of these countries whose patience is being pushed to the limit. Well, sooner or later they're going to react, right? Sooner or later they're going to react because obviously there hasn't been, let's say, a strong response from them. At least, not so far. How have you been, Scarlett? Greetings! We're reading your messages on Telegram. To our friends on Telegram, I want to send a special greeting. Especially because I know not everyone uses that app, but look, it's the fastest way for you to get notified that we're live. I encourage you to download the app, search for PPN Vivo, and you'll receive a notification when we're live. And also you can leave a comment yourself, send a greeting like that, right? I mean, come on, that's another interesting and important thing too. And today, well, we're joined, obviously like every night. Haste, how have you been?
How are you? How are you?
Greetings to the whole community. How have you been? To those who are eating, enjoy your meal. I see you're having dinner. I'm looking at your dinner. The quesadillas look delicious too, even if you're hungry.
I'm really hungry, but for that reason, I'm going to leave you a poll so you can answer it for me. Let's see. Today is donut day. So I want to know, are you on Team Cookie or Team Pan Dulce? Oh, well, obviously the donut is included. I'm Team Cookie 100%. But anyway, I want to know which team has more people.
I vote for Team Sweet Bread. In fact, if I had to choose between getting rid of cookies or sweet bread, I would get rid of cookies. Cookies are really overrated.
No. Cookies are the best.
Let's check the poll and what I said today. You must be hungry if you're making a poll about bread and about...
And the joke is just getting started.
Sorry. You don't appear, see? Wait, you do appear. There it is.
I see, right?
Oh, no, there you are. Now we can see you. Hi, how are you? Look at that beautiful light. You have to, you know what? No, it's not. It's like, no, center isn't there. There it is. Oh, well, kind of. No, well, there it is. That's all it can do. That's all it. We're getting there.
Cookies are winning. Cookies are winning. Nothing. Look.
By one vote.
Oh.
Sweet bread. You can do it. Don't let me down. Let's move on to other matters, also important about what's happening in the world. Check out the following image. Well, things are getting intense and there's urgent information from SETCOM that's been declassified. They published this exchange that's happening during Iranian attacks. What?
Well, that's part of what caused all the developments today because, well, the United States started with an attack on a radar, which is very similar to what we saw last weekend.
Exactly the same, yes.
Yes. Well, they released these images which show the attacks on the Iranian radar sites and a marker for Iran's retaliation.
Yeah.
From there, well, Iran's attacks on Bahrain, Kuwait, and Miratus Arabia began.
All right. Well, look, so this is what causes it. And let's go to the island. Where is it? It's Kesma Island.
It really is an island.
It's this island. Look, let's go to the screen, to the map. Sorry, it's this island. It's just that the Google Maps map isn't loading properly. Let's load it again. There you go. It loaded perfectly. It's on this island. where from here you have two very important things. From here, there are radars to detect when a ship is going to pass. Yes, we have to remember that. I mean, here on the maps, everything looks really easy. But as soon as you're a little bit away from land, you can't see the ships anymore, right? I mean, especially at night. And many ships, what they've been doing, there have been reports that ships pass by stealthily. They turn everything off, turn off the lights, and cross. And several of them have gotten away. But with the radars, they can detect them sometimes and shoot at them, right? So what the Iranians have done in this area is to have in these regions, in these protected zones, like a kind of, let's say like a military base, hundreds of these armed boats. Yes, so today there are also reports of attacks on those boats. I mean, well, in fact, the Iranians said this a moment ago. With this, it's over, it's finished, they say. The ceasefire ends. Why? Because they're literally attacking boats where there are already Iranian soldiers. So obviously for them, they consider it the end. I mean, it was already too much. They were attacking almost daily, but with this, the ceasefire is over. So we're 6 to 10 days away from the World Cup. And I don't remember the circumstance.
This intense, so close to an international event, right? El país como que fue el anfitrión en esta ocasión. Always before major events, the Olympics, before FIFA events. Even Russia waited until the Winter Olympics in China were over to attack Ukraine. Because, well, you have to respect the host country this time.
Okay.
So how's it going? How will Iran respect the United States?
No, of course not. Even less after everything that has happened. I mean, for Ali Khamenei to lose his wife, his son, his father, etc. Well, obviously the negotiation looks difficult. And today we were talking about a very important topic. It's over. I mean, there are different groups within Iran, different groups that are in control. And one of the things that stands out the most is the group that's operating, which is ultra-conservative. And what that group is asking Ali Khamenei is to make zero agreements and to escalate everything to a full-scale war. So what they're asking for is to go all out to the maximum. And that's what he wanted to avoid. Donald Trump thought that the moderate wing was going to control the wing where the president is. Well, Mansour Pezeshkian, who by the way, they don't let resign.
But also, well, it was their fault too. He himself said in the first days of the war that the moderates had all lost their lives because they were the ones responsible for this, right? If something had been done, I don't know, more planned something, and it's failing them.
Failed them.
No.
It definitely failed them. And well, they've been reporting this map, right? And let's say with some points marked there, right? There's this point, this one here, which is the Hara Reserve. A reserve. There it is. Basically, the island which is the one they claim. Well, this island, in this area, attacks are happening against these boats. About 5 explosions have been reported, and near the SETI naval base, headquarters of the Revolutionary Guard's fast boat forces. Although whether the number is 5 or more or less, honestly, we don't know. It's not confirmed and likely won't be soon, but CENTCOM is already there, saying if those boats are attacked.
Exactly what it says. The United States Army bombed 2 Iranian radar installations and also shot down 4 drones launched toward the Strait of Hormuz. This was reported by CENTCOM itself, describing it as a defensive action and that the devices, according to the military command, represented an immediate threat. To regional maritime traffic. The CENTCOM also specified that the radar site was in a coastal surveillance area located in Goruk. Okay? And on Kems Island, which is the current focus. Pepe, who showed you, said the attack aimed to stop new Iranian actions against navigation there. That's the situation in this matter.
Let's move on to other important points, including the city and related matters. A curious image. Meanwhile, what are the chances of something like that happening? You jump with a parachute, you're falling, and suddenly you have a close encounter, but not with aliens, but with a, what do they call it? A kangaroo that goes and greets him and welcomes him with a rough beating. I mean, you man from the sky, get out of here. And well, in the end, it's not just the parachutist who says it. He says, fucking kangaroo. Because at first he talks to him nicely, right? Like, I don't know what. And then suddenly, bam, he gives him 2 or 3 hits. And from then on, he doesn't like kangaroos anymore. And there was another one behind, but the one in the back kind of held back, like he controlled himself. Man,
That guy went too far.
these ones are small. These kangaroos are small, but some are huge. And if you've seen them, you know what I mean?
They're muscular.
More or less like me. Look,
You can see the muscle fibers like this.
otherwise it can't hold like this. They took it out like this. But, well, if they're fierce when they're small, just imagine them bigger. Honestly, the image is quite curious. Let's also move on to other important matters happening in the world. Look, there's an image. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. There's an image, right? That I'd like to see, that I'd like us to see. It's this one. It's an image that's being reported. This is in Krasnodar in Russia. An oil depot is under attack right now. It's being attacked. Sorry, it's about this. Well, it adds to the record list they've had in June. We're only 5 days into June, and it's been happening every day. Not just one, but in areas that are up to thousands of kilometers apart from each other that have been attacked. Has the level of attacks being carried out in Ukraine accelerated? And what they believe is that it's accelerating as much as possible from now until winter, because they know that's the time when in Russia, I mean from now until winter starts, they're going to try to advance. So the weaker Russia's fuel position is, the less likely it is that they'll advance. That's it. Winter stops them from advancing due to the Rasputitsa, which is this. Since autumn, more or less, when the rains start, they can no longer advance, or it's very difficult for the Russians to advance because there's too much mud. So they know that Russia will want to operate at full capacity right now. And Ukraine is doing the same, trying to operate at full capacity. Despite that, today we talked about and saw images of the prisoner exchange. You say this, but I also say that even in wars, there is good news. When prisoners are released, for example, it's obviously good news because of the families, just imagine, and for the prisoners themselves, right? Some of them had been there since 2022.
Yes, many of them had already been there for quite a long time. Many of them had too. And well, obviously the conditions, when you see the soldiers that Russia sends back, they come back in very bad shape compared to the Russian soldiers who return. It's very different. The images are very different, honestly.
Well, look at this one. Look at another image. This one catches my attention too. What's going on?
These are the floods that were seen today in Key West, Florida, in the United States. We have been talking about it. Yesterday we mentioned this blob, a mass of heavy rain heading toward the United States. Now the first floods are appearing.
Yesterday, well, the meteorologists over there in the United States, at least some of them, mentioned the name blob for this weather phenomenon where sudden rains occur. This area of Key West, well, it's an area that has already been flooded on other occasions, and they say that adjustments will be made and all, but no matter how many adjustments you make, if you live near the coast and there are sudden rains, well, sudden rains ultimately have a limit to how much the ground can absorb. I mean, the land has a limit. So yes, obviously there might be a lack of infrastructure and whatever else you want, but honestly, you see this kind of situation everywhere. This time, it's just the beginning of the season, right? It's not, well, there's still a long way to go. So, well, friends in Florida and friends from anywhere in the world, honestly, stay alert to what's coming this year regarding the weather. Look, I want to send a greeting right now, but just give me a moment. I'm going to make the switch. Let's go to the next image, because there's an image that was sent to us today. I found it super interesting, and it shows how these kinds of situations are being or have been recorded. Send my regards to Fio, because she sent us what's been happening over there in Costa Rica. Right now, we're going to look at this image. She sent it to us today. In fact, there's practically no information, but I thank Fio. Fio was sending us this information via social media, right? And then it shows the following. I want you to see the image of some of the floods that are circulating over there that happened to her. You can see severe floods in Costa Rica. Check if it's called Liberia in Costa Rica. That's the place. Yes. So, well, there are some floods. Some images come out a bit like this. Well, they're flipped, right? this person went viral. This family where she's with her cute little dogs. The dogs are cute. That's right. Her entire house is flooded. Honestly, I don't want to play the audio because it's really intense. I mean, the lady is crying a lot because she says, what can we do, right? And nothing. She feels the water rising and you can see she's scared. Her daughter is there with the little dogs. And I imagine, obviously, that there isn't a second floor, right? Because you're there and you can see the water level is really high. And that's what I was telling her the other day. It's not just about walking or just walking. It's mud. Those are things. It's complicated. The truth is, yes, it's a really, really serious situation. And how many neighbors live there? Yes, of course. So what's happening over there in Costa Rica is really tough. And there are some details I'd like to talk about regarding this flood or how this situation is unfolding. Because so far, well, the problem isn't very widespread. No, according to what they're reporting. Okay? No, they're not really very large areas, at least based on the information we've been able to get. But yes, well, the Red Cross was reporting that 7 people were evacuated. 7 people, obviously, isn't a lot. They were reportedly trapped in vehicles and houses today, Friday afternoon in Liberia. So this is something very recent that's happening. According to what's being reported on social media, 2 desperate women were just now. I think it's a mother and daughter, along with their dogs, asking for help because they're trapped. I'm not sure if they were among those rescued or not. Well, let's hope so. Obviously not. When I look at the numbers reported in local media and on social media locally, for example, El Observador in Costa Rica, it shows that the problem wasn't very widespread yet. No, but yes, there were several incidents. In fact, look, you'll see that we received a lot of images. I'd like to show a few more because they don't just show the flooding issue. They also show other things. Look, here's a report that this guy sent me. It says that at this time in the afternoon, the emergency committees of San Jose Huacaste and the western area of Alajuela, Heredia, and the southern zone are reporting heavy rains. The new town of Liberia is reporting a sewer system collapse. This one doesn't have anything. It just mentions rain. And later on in another report, it talks about how it happened, but not in this one. There's a report where they talk about the millimeters, which was the part that surprised me the most. And in another one, you can see the amount of water that's coming in, which is quite a lot. Just really intense, very intense. There. Yes, we can say that it was rising strongly. Definitely not just a little. Well, to not go on too long, I just want to send greetings to Costa Rica. Thanks to Fio for sending us these images and for letting us know about the situation. We'll stay alert and keep sharing updates as events unfold. Friends with information, please contact us through our social media or web. There are many ways to contact us and to send information. I insist, it's just starting. The season has just begun. So don't get complacent. Get prepared. If you live in areas that can get flooded, at least make sure to keep important documents protected in bags, double bags, and so on. So that if something like that happens, you don't lose them. You don't lose things of great value, especially important documents and things like that. Having a second floor is always a relief because you can move things there, right? I remember during a flood my mother-in-law had, do you remember? It was a while ago. Yeah, it was a long time ago. And I mean, it was an area where they made adjustments, right? They made adjustments and up until now, it hasn't flooded again. It's just that now it can't happen anymore. What I'm getting at is that it's possible to make adjustments. I mean, it's possible to prevent those kinds of floods because that time it was a river that was nearby, but they made the adjustments. And after that, there have been much worse rains than that one, and that area hasn't flooded again. But yes, it is terrible. Obviously, it wasn't maybe that extreme, but yes, there were some pretty significant material losses, right? Let's discuss other interesting topics. The guidelines on how the extraterrestrial issue is handled are going to start changing. Things are going to start getting serious, right? I'm saying this for those who want to understand the topic, because a lot of people haven't realized yet that the world has changed, right? It had already been changing. But this year is the turning point. It's the change. The change has already happened. I mean, there will be people who find out later, but the turning point has already happened, right? In what sense has it already happened? I mean, is everything already being prepared? To announce these kinds of things more frequently, maybe the strategy will be not to give a warning, maybe not to have a ribbon cutting announcement, not to say, well, from now on, aliens are out there, right? And that's it. End of story. I think the information will just be released more often, not like that. The Archdiocese of Washington truly caught my attention. I wish that he had dismissed a priest who had been working as the director for 19 years. The whole person in charge of exorcisms, which sounds really, really crazy, right? The subject, but in the end, they are important figures from the point of view of specifically a religion. But then you realize that those priests don't just perform exorcisms on, let's say, Catholic people, but suddenly people from other religions show up too. And hey, there's this person who has this problem. They've already seen a psychiatrist, they've seen a psychologist, and the person has something inside, right? Well, they told me that with you. And it doesn't matter if they're from another religion, they go and perform the whole exorcism ritual, which honestly sounds amazing. I don't know what they believe in that sense. Well, it sounds really amazing, but then it works for them. Yes, it works for them. And well, that's it. I mean, one day we should revisit the case of the boy. The movie The Exorcist is based on who is actually a boy, not a girl. In reality, it's a boy. And this boy in the real case is a boy who later became an engineer. It was NASA. I mean, as an adult, he became an engineer at NASA and kept his anonymity all his life because he didn't want to be famous for that. So he lived his life and everything. But the people who were close to the case say it was amazing, right? Because in the end, he was a scientist, an engineer and scientist at NASA. And he said, no, this was probably some psychological issue. I don't know. Like, he wanted to explain it some other way. But the parents and the people who experienced this up close say, no, there was something really intense here. There was something powerful and hidden here, something from other worlds. But the point is that this man was fired because he talked about some of the UFO cases and all that. He believes that they are demons or spiritually negative things, right? Not all of them. He didn't say all of them. But just that comment, just the fact that he said it, they fired him for that. Why would a church, the Archdiocese, care so much to fire someone at that level over that comment? Unless now they really care about not spreading that fear about the UFO topic because they're seeing something is going to be announced. So I feel like that really caught my attention. Honestly, I wouldn't even be talking about this if they hadn't fired him. I would have just said, well, it's just another comment, or we would have just talked about it casually. But to me, that's super interesting.
Ross, thank you so much to Jose Ferro for that huge super chat.
Thank you so much, really, for the super chat and to the community that is willing to support us in that way. I truly appreciate it. I know it's an effort. And you should know that this part of the community is obviously very important to us, right? Because we're totally dedicated to this, right? So see it as support for independent journalism, for independent voices, like a kind of, I don't know if it's a tip or just a way to acknowledge that you like what we do. Honestly, I really appreciate that. I value it a lot because, we don't depend on any media outlet or any government or any important group, even those groups on YouTube, right? So that's where we are. We're doing our best. And it's really thanks to you, honestly. That's why I'm so grateful for it. So thanks to all of that and a little more on this.
Yes, well, let's go to the news. The SETI just updated what the scientific community is. We have to remember that the CET, which is like a lot of computers, that's the simplest explanation I think you have from the 80s, right? They have a good system that is constantly monitoring space for signals and so on here. And, well, they have decided to update their official protocols to handle a possible detection of intelligent life beyond Earth. The goal is to avoid information chaos, leaks, premature explanations, or viral rumors, which are very easy to fall into nowadays. False alarms that could trigger a suspicious signal on social media. So, well, experts acknowledge that the media landscape is very different now from when they started and that they have to update this topic because misinformation is so easy to find nowadays. Michael Garak is president of the SETI committee at the International Academy of Astronautics. He explained that they want to prevent researchers from announcing possible discoveries before everyone is sure that they have solid and verified evidence. And these new rules, for example, require that any suspicious signal must be authenticated, corroborated, and peer-reviewed before starting to share the information publicly. Another important aspect for them is transparency. If the scientists claim that the data used to verify the possible signal, it should be publicly available to prevent accusations of cover-up. The update also talks about the issue of protecting the scientists' names because, well, they can suddenly become public figures unexpectedly, and they are not, that's not what they wanted, but they're not actors or politicians. They're just scientists, and suddenly there are some crazy people out there. Yes.
Yes. Suddenly, they can end up with a life they don't want. One caught up in media attention. I mean, they're simply improving and preparing the protocols because, well, I imagine they're seeing something too, right? I mean, it's the same thing. Again, I mean, they're seeing something first. More openness from the media, more interest at the same time. I mean, it's not that I don't know if there's going to be misinformation. No, there is going to be. There's going to be a lot of misinformation, obviously, on this topic too. So we have to be very careful with this topic and, well, stay alert to that, right?
And well, anyway, for example, Cliff Linton, who is in charge of the space department at Oxford University, says that honestly, even though there are these changes in the protocols, it's going to be very difficult to keep something like a signal secret because there are 600 or even thousands of scientists who participate in this in SETI. And besides, there are a lot, he says, there's a lot of renewed public interest in the topic, well, because of the revelations that the United States has been making and also because of new astronomical research that's come out. So it's like the topic is once again in full swing. So it's very easy for people not to hold back and to release the information. Exactly.
Hey, well, I want to show you an interesting image of how these things are starting to be seen, or how we are starting to be seen in Mexico and around the world. This is a program from Japan where they're showing images from here, from the municipality where we live, in Guadalupe, where the police show up. These go out on their own, like, what are the robots called that stay to keep watch? There are about 4 or 5 robots, right? They group them together to make it seem like, look, there are robots. It's clear they're not from the area. You can see the stadium. Obviously, they didn't pay attention and just placed the police there. There's a bridge, a traffic light. Honestly, no, that's where the stadium is. It's not from. But anyway, that's all. This is in Japanese. Let's listen a little. There's the Japanese host. Let's listen a little. No.
This cat robot, which has a camera placed on its chest.
They say, no, these guys are in the future. The people from Monterrey, they're living in the future. Who are you coming to show robots to the Japanese? No way, they're going to say, so what? Whose toys are those? Who lost those toys here? No, it's fine. No, but they're very respectful, right? Maybe since I don't understand Japanese, I just imagine they're respectful. But I don't really know. Maybe they're not. But anyway, that's an explanation of why robots are used. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much.
Not their job.
So, of course, basically it's about getting into places that, well, a police officer can't.
To detect suspicious packages, certain things that, well, get complicated.
Right, exactly. Right? So, it's really cool to see how, in the end, what you expect happens. The country gets exposed, right? And especially, well, Guadalajara, Mexico City, and Monterrey. In this case, Japan is playing in Monterrey. That's why the Japanese are very interested right now. By the way, one of the players on the Japan team speaks perfect Spanish. My brother made an interesting comment saying, hey, did you notice he speaks much better than Sage? I agreed. Yeah, that's true. He knows everything, Sage. He still talks like that. Like, I don't know what, the little guy in the uni chiquin, and you think he's been doing this his whole life. Besides, he's a communicator. I mean, he's a professional broadcaster and everything. How does he not only lose the accent, but also forget Spanish? Then this Japanese guy from the national team, Chavito, shows up and speaks like a Spaniard. Because I say, no, I don't know how much, and here in Monterrey, and that, I mean, he a really good Spanish, really well spoken. I mean, he speaks super well, right? He really got into it, and I think it's partly talent. Some people just have a knack for languages, and some don't. Maybe, I don't know. It's not just him, right? Like Tuca, who's the other one who also speaks like that? He speaks well, really well. Yeah, well, Portuguino, right? I mean, Portuñol, right? He speaks in a really funny way. And I mean, they're talking to a lot of people every day. I don't know if it's already part of the show, right? Also part of the act, right? Well, I don't know, you know? It's interesting. But can we discuss something else? Let's move on to more important matters. Hey, well, more images keep coming up. This is over there in Mogadishu. That's right, isn't it? This is the area over there. Yes, in Mogadishu, over in Somalia, where they keep seeing, well, armed people. Up until now, the report mentions 13 people who have lost their lives, 189 injured, 12,500 families displaced. And the thing is, there's talk of a potential coup d'etat over there in that country.
Right? Exactly. They've been at it for weeks, right? We've been talking about this topic. Obviously, information doesn't flow that much, but as much possible, we'll keep sharing it with you.
Exactly. But well, that's how things are on that topic. We'll keep updating, like you said. But Somalia is a country, it's a government that says, at least for now, that it's restoring order. The images say something else. But well, they say they've restored order, that everything is supposedly calm now, right? Well, that's how things are. How are you, Garman? Garman, greetings. Very good. MT says, hey, did you guys know that Trump? No, they hate Mexicans. They're ugly. Haha. I didn't know that. I saw it on the news this morning, says MT. Oh, wow. Crazy, right? But well, consider the source, right? As they say, Walter, how have you been? Panterita, hello, greetings to the whole community that's here. And Francisco Arce, how have you been? La Volpe says he's been in Mexico for 40 years and still has an accent because of it. I can understand the accent, but the language, right? That's what surprises me. I mean, in his case, well, he speaks Spanish perfectly. But yes, you're right. The accent, and especially Argentinians, they don't usually change their accent much. Honestly, they keep it their whole lives. Even when they have kids, they still speak the same way.
Argentinians. The kids still have accent.
With the accents, yes, that's really interesting. Well, let's move on to other important matters. Hey, listen to this. It must be almost dawn over there in Iran, but you can hear in the background, according to reports, the planes that have been flying nearby between Iraq, Iran, and the whole region. What's going on, or what do you think is happening over there?
American planes, they say, are flying over Iraq, near Basra, along with explosions consistent with anti-aircraft interceptions. Well, there's a lot of movement right now. Things are happening. There are things going on. Obviously, tomorrow there will be more information about what happened if Iran reports on any of these things. But today, by the way, Donald Trump came out and claimed that Iran, well, has no other option but to negotiate with Washington. He acknowledged Iran's leaders are strong, proud, and handsome, but said the process will take time. I mean, we're stuck in a cycle that doesn't seem like it's gonna end, but oh well. The president made this statement today on NBC News, in which he also defended the pace of the talks. He has obviously rejected criticism from those who are demanding that this issue be resolved already. We've been stuck for 4 months on something that should have been resolved in a week or 4 weeks at most.
And there's a very interesting cycle that you mentioned, which would be this cycle. Let's see. Hold on a moment. I'd better put it here the right way. There you go. That's it. It's this one. This cycle. Let's see.
This is the opposite of the virtuous circles they teach in school.
Let's see. What's happening there?
How's the first one doing? Come on, in negotiations in progress, right? What's this? Yes, we're making progress. Then Iran, if you don't accept negotiations, will punish you. Trump's usual comment, which I think he made yesterday or the day before. Below it says, scroll down since I can't see it from here. It says, we're waiting for them to respond. And then they respond. And then, oh, this deal is garbage. And we start all over again. We're negotiating, we're talking. This will be ready in a few days, in a week. And then we go back to, and they respond to us.
It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop.
It's not bad. We're stuck here. I just want to get out of this cycle, please.
Sol Garcia says destructive cycle. Not nice. Yes, no.
Nothing virtuous.
Exactly.
Yes, it has a name.
Circle.
Vicious circle?
Vicious.
It's a vicious circle.
Yes, that's true.
Well, there it is. That's how things are going on this topic. A meeting is held in Tennessee in the United States with nuclear experts. This is organized by the United States government.
Right? Exactly. Today it was leaked that the envoys remember the special envoys on the Iran issue. Well, it's Steve Witkoff, who is also in charge of the Russia issue, and Jaron Kushner, who is Donald Trump's son-in-law. Let's talk about nepotism here. Well, they are the special envoys on the Iran issue. And yesterday, Thursday, very quietly, without talking about it, they met. They went to the Oak Ridge National Laboratory in Tennessee to meet with a team of technical experts who could play a role in the nuclear negotiations with Iran. The White House, we have to remember, is trying to reach an agreement with Iran, mainly on the nuclear issue. Although today someone else came out and said, no, that's no longer useful. It's all over, you know. But anyway, according to US officials and regional sources involved in these negotiations, the United States and Iran still don't agree on this issue, on the nuclear issue. And the sources say that the negotiations are not clear, whether there will be an end or not, whether an agreement will be reached or not. And this meeting in Oak Ridge doesn't mean that an agreement will be reached, but it is a sign that the negotiations are in a very serious phase and that there are many possibilities of achieving it. And this is what one of the leaks on the subject claims.
Well, there it is. I mean, it says quite a lot. Anyway, I mean, many times what isn't said speaks volumes, right? And this time, well, to begin with, if this meeting is happening and they're doing it quietly and all that, it shows you where the concerns are right now, right? Keep an eye on the nuclear issue on several fronts, right? Like uranium, right? And how it can be recovered, right? To begin with, it's like a type of gas. The material is like a gas. Yeah, powder, and I don't know what else. And then there's the issue of the nuclear plant in the United Arab Emirates. Today at the IAEA, they were saying, please don't attack each other. And they said, no, that's it. We're criticizing the attack that Iran carried out on the United Arab Emirates, but they're also criticizing the attack on Iran's nuclear plant, right? Or on Israel's nuclear facility or Ukraine's. I mean, they're saying it doesn't matter which country it is. The risk is the same. The risk is for everyone. And this shouldn't happen because if attacks start happening, attacks on nuclear plants could create areas where part of the population can't even live there, right? I mean, it's an important risk issue, and obviously it also affects the planet.
The people who are in this place in Tennessee, in Oak Ridge, are specialists in uranium processing and the centrifugation process that's used to enrich uranium. And they already have experience with this, including material that was taken from Kazakhstan and Libya at the time. This in Kazakhstan happened when the USSR broke up, which is something we mentioned here. It was done quietly. There wasn't any information about it. It was only known after a long time. But anyway, this issue was already handled in Tennessee.
Well, that's the matter, right? Anything else about that topic? attention to the entire migrant community, to all the Hispanic migrants who are listening to us. Right now, because there are changes happening in the United States government regarding how banks are managed, what's going on, how is this issue developing?
Well, today it was reported that the United States Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, known as FinCEN, issued a notice to banks and credit unions to identify and report suspicious transactions related to the employment of undocumented migrants. The document issued by FinCEN, this agency under the United States Department of the Treasury, is part of Donald Trump's new policy, which had already been announced. Someone here asked us about this recently. How was it going? Well, today this topic comes up because he was looking to tighten financial regulations for migrants, something that basically has been making things difficult for them from the very beginning. And well, this provision aligns with Executive Order 1446, published on May 19 of this year, and it seeks to restrict practices related to credit, financial services, and jobs for people without work authorization. In other words, undocumented migrants.
Migrants who didn't have that problem before, and now they're being given a problem in their economic foundation. Look, there's a very serious complaint right now in the United States because they're running out of scientists, mathematicians, and engineers because they've been... If they're strict with illegal migrants, they're twice or even 2.5 times stricter with legal migrants. They're now tougher on legal migrants than illegal ones. Yes, so because of everything they're doing, because they're saying, look, if you don't meet these requirements, you're out. If not, whatever. So the companies in the United States, what they're deciding is to come to Mexico, go to Canada or Europe, or see where else they can go where they're allowed to have high-level migrants. And I say welcome, really welcome. Because any country with a little bit of common sense is going to say, hey, it's great to have this group of advanced people, scientists, innovators, whatever you want. Give them the permit, obviously, right? Or is it just because they're from a country I don't like or don't have money since they're starting out? Well, yes, but if they're selected there, it's because they're super qualified people. And if the United States has good universities, definitely. But a good part of those university students are foreigners. So when those foreigners are wanted by companies, well, that's how it is. Let's say the South Korean or whatever, or Chinese, whatever, is really good at what he does, right? Or he's Mexican, Salvadoran. I mean, he's really good at what he does. He is amazingly good at math. Let's give him a job and hire him before another company gets him. And he starts getting offers from other countries. And the United States, well, now says nobody wants to come here. There's a mass exodus. People are leaving. They're going to Germany, they're going to France, they're going to a lot of places. And in fact, the French and other countries have said it publicly. They've openly said, no, we're going to invest whatever we can to bring all those talented people here. We've invited all the talented people being pushed out. The United States says, come innovate here. So this isn't a problem that's going to be seen in the short term, but in the long term, it could cause them a serious problem of no longer being the innovative countries like the United States is, for example, in AI, in artificial intelligence. When you check and review who is working on that topic, many of them aren't even from the United States. So, I mean the team, right? So, well, it's a worrying issue and they're doing the work for them. It's easy. The work.
Exactly. Well, the warning signs from FinCEN that could affect you are the following. Intensive use of IT-in without valid work documents, transfers through unregistered companies, frequent cash payments, transactions through apps between individuals. Financial activity that does not match the declared business purpose, transactions linked to labor intermediaries, and possible evasion of tax withholding. Those are the signs that they could basically freeze it or keep the money.
Well, there it is, right? I mean, let's move on to other matters, other important topics as well. Importantes. Hey, something strange is happening in Iran. as if there weren't already weird things. But in the bank accounts of users, of ordinary citizens, suddenly they realize they go there to check their money, they go to withdraw something, and they're told, but you no longer have that amount. Significant amounts of money are disappearing inside Iran.
Well, the population, the Iranians, are reporting the disappearance of funds from their bank accounts, and obviously distrust in national banks is growing. The reports of missing funds are fueling this distrust, with customers reporting unexplained losses and contradictory explanations from the banks. An investigation conducted by Allura reported on Friday about multiple cases in which account holders claimed that their funds disappeared. From banks like Melmeli and Bank Sefar, some were told that the losses were due to hacking, to cyber attacks attributed to hostile agents. You know, there's the United States, there's Israel, while others simply were given no clear explanation. They didn't even bother. According to state media, the Central Bank of Iran has previously acknowledged that some banking institutions were targets of cyber and physical attacks, but the authorities have not confirmed any systematic theft of deposits or widespread account losses. And well, the report also cited activists and opposition figures who claim that the authorities have expanded the use of legal and security mechanisms to freeze or confiscate the assets of people accused of collaborating with foreign countries.
Well, that's clear, isn't it? I mean, obviously that's their approach. Anything else on that topic? No. Let's move on to other important matters. Well, do you remember this guy over there in Brazil who has been observing an object, a UFO, right? It had supposedly been showing up there, and the person reporting it was, by the way, an influencer and also a rancher. Supposedly, Brazilian intelligence gathered, look, there's this supposed object above a hill. There are some videos, and some are very long. Unlike usual, they don't just show a brief clip when someone reports it. No. Well, there are videos, and he also gives his testimony that he hears strange sounds and all sorts of things. But there are some interesting facts, right? First, what happened to him? The Brazilian Air Force, the FAB, has officially denied detecting any flying object. At least, they say they haven't identified anything. This is regarding the reported incidents that happened on May 31st, which is when this happened in Campo Largo, which is the name of this place, or municipality that's near Curitiba, a capital known for being ecological in Paraná. The controversy began when this influencer named Mike Liao posted videos showing strange lights in the night skies of the rural area where he is. According to him, the lights have also been generating unusual sounds coming from an area that is very wooded and hard to access. That's why he hasn't been able to go there. The Airspace Control Department, called DCA or DCEA, with a C, not an S, the independent agency also from the FAB, reported that all surveillance systems are active and that at least they haven't detected absolutely anything. The air defense radars constantly monitor all of southern Brazil and well, all of Brazil according to them. They say they didn't record any anomalies, at least not officially. Authorities also checked with local airports for any information. Nothing was detected at the airports either. Strange phenomena. The official statement states that, well, they have been checking and that at least they in particular haven't found anything. What also draws attention is that the Brazilian intelligence agency AVIN supposedly sent a message, right, to this person, but they deny that. So it really remains in doubt whether someone just posted. So they say they didn't contact this person, right? Just to clarify that point. Well, obviously we'll keep updating. Carmen just asked about it. That's why I'm mentioning it. We weren't planning to comment on this report, but I've been following the case somewhat. Honestly, there isn't much new. I mean, just what I told you. I mean, there is an update because in the end, Aveen has already responded. That same agency has also responded now. The aerospace, well, not aerospace, I mean the air agency, that's it. The Department of Airspace Control, that's what it's called, right? Well, and the FF also responded, which we hadn't mentioned before. So now we've got everything updated, right? Xylee. Well, the United States has made a very intense, very strong move because they see it as a risk to Israeli counterintelligence. So let's see what's happening, what they've said, how things are going. Well, okay.
According to reports, this came out in NBC, where the Pentagon has just raised the threat level of Israeli counterintelligence as critical, which is the highest possible designation due to concerns that Israel is aggressively spying on high-ranking United States officials. According to a United States official, the Defense Intelligence Agency issued this assessment in recent weeks because Israel is making a particular effort to monitor high-ranking United States officials in order to obtain information about the internal deliberations and decision-making of the Trump administration. This is obviously regarding the issue of Iran, the issue of Lebanon, and this ally that, well, has been one of the closest allies of the United States. It is now classified as a critical counterintelligence threat, which is the same level as hostile foreign powers, because it is spying within the president's inner circle to find out whether the bombings on Iran will resume or if they are going to sign the agreement. And well, according to US officials, they have already used disposable phones and avoid talking in hotel rooms when there are visitors from Israel. Also, an expert from CISS describes Israeli intelligence as hyper-aggressive and extremely interested in what they are doing. And well, after Trump yelled at Netanyahu that he was crazy and the leak appeared in Axios, it definitely caused some annoyance. And Netanyahu's letter was designed for military integration. Currently, Section 224 in question, which links the military and data systems of both countries, is on hold, and the Pentagon has formally designated Israel as a threat. And in recent weeks, Congress has also moved to connect Israel directly with the United States Defense Industrial Base. So there are two things happening at the same time. I mean, while there is a good relationship, because if we look at Congress, there are several senators and representatives who are very united towards Israel. At the same time, we see that Israel already has a strong attitude of espionage towards the United States, which honestly is nothing new. They have always been investigating everyone very intensely. I don't think they trust absolutely anyone.
No, of course. The United States spies on others too. But there's a certain level, right? A level of subtlety. But when it gets really aggressive, just imagine when they're making a decision, at the highest level. There's Trump there making a decision with his cabinet, and suddenly imagine that Yahoo calls you, someone calls you and says, hey, I already know you're going to do this. I don't agree. I mean, let me explain. There are situations where they get ahead of things. The United States stations start to get worried, right? And so they started to realize that, well, the level of espionage was already too aggressive enough to raise security. And they don't even talk when there are Israeli diplomats around right now because they suspect they might be watched, listened to. Whatever you can imagine. It's something Israel has always focused on and invested a lot in, right? The intelligence issue. And it's great when it's on your side. I mean, that's what I mean. For the United States, it works out great because it's on their side. But when it's used against them, when it's used to influence decisions, that's when you realize it's not good for you to be spied on. That's why back when WikiLeaks came out and it was reported how the United States was spying on France, Germany, and all its allied countries, there was strong outrage from those European countries. And I imagine that internally they must have made a lot of changes to
No one would.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of changes so that, what's it called? They wouldn't be spied on so easily, right? That, or well, also pretty intense, right? Yeah. Let's move on to other matters, to other important topics as well. There's a case. I mean, let's go to the comments, right? There's a case with FIFA right now regarding the World Cup where there was a problem with the app or something, and people ended up getting free tickets to go to the World Cup.
About 60 people.
60 people who had that luck, and now they're being told to go and pay, that they shouldn't take advantage, and that they should pay or something like that. Whether they're forced to pay or not, I don't know how that works out, but at the very least, I hope FIFA charges them, and if they're going to charge them, that they charge a fair price and not try to overcharge them, because you know how the users themselves drove the prices up, right? I mean, the users resell and the price is outrageous, right? I mean, honestly, it's crazy. But, well, what comes out is what we know, right?
Well, what FIFA just did is that obviously from their side, they've never lost. They didn't cancel the tickets for the World Cup, but they are reserved. I mean, they're still reserved. And so they've invited these fans, these 60 fans, to pay the correct amount internally. I mean, they're not giving them any discount or anything. Obviously, they're never going to lose. And, well, this is the latest problem they've had with ticket sales in this new World Cup, which, well, has been very controversial because of the costs and also heavily criticized by the Attorneys General of New York and New Jersey in the United States for violating consumer protection laws. Well, in the United States on this issue, they really do have very strict rules. And honestly, FIFA has just ignored all of them.
It starts on June 11th.
Yes, it will be on Thursday.
This Thursday. That Thursday. I mean, what day is Thursday?
Thursday is the 11th.
That's right, the 11th, since the opening is at Azteca Stadium, correct?
It's in the text.
In Mexico City. Mexico versus South Africa, which I think is great. That the opening match is Mexico's.
Oh, they better win, and win by a landslide.
Where?
Against South Africa.
Against South Africa. And obviously it would be... No, they have to win and win, well, really well. The Azteca, I can't imagine. It's going to be packed to the brim, and they're going to be, well, doing their chants and all that. I don't know. It's going to be super interesting. June 11th, next June 11th, that's when the game will be. And, well, we'll already be inside here in Monterrey. There isn't a single Mexico match. It's only in Mexico City, Guadalajara, and again in Mexico City.
And Samuel, the governor here, threw a big tantrum because he wanted there to be a Mexico game here. But no.
Well, it would have been nice. It would have been nice. Hey, so how have you been? How's everything going? What's new?
Over here, greetings, dude. The problem with the United States is that there aren't any national scientists, and that's a big problem. We should hire national.
Greetings. How have you been? Very good.
Greetings to Tapatia. How is she? It's like she hasn't won, but she's winning the sweet bread.
You'll see that. That was close. 63% that I haven't written.
Cookies are supposed to be crunchy. That's why I don't like cookies from the United States, like choco chips. They're too soft. I prefer the crunchy ones. Tastes so good. Mete says, but mistakes or not, they already gave them away. Just let it go. You're not going to go broke because of that. That's so mean already.
Yeah.
I know.
No.
They won't lose for anything in the world. I mean, it's crazy. They'll even fight you over a crumb. Shout out to Miguel Alejandro, and we're going to Mexico. That's it. Best case, 3-1.
A 3-1, a 3-1. Exactly.
Shout out to Sofe. Look at how Sofe is.
Shout out to Miguel. Shout out to Sofe. Very good. Greetings. Good evening.
Shout out to Leonardo, and she says her empanadas, they're begging for the banks not to raise interest rates and trying to get jobs. He says, I don't understand. What do you mean by empanadas?
Her empanadas? Hers?
How was that?
Let's check if it's missing. They made a mistake. Greetings to Amanda Antonio. How are you, Amanda Antonio? And also to Panterita, who mentioned feeling an earthquake.
Where?
Panterita is in Mexico City.
In Mexico City, of course.
Greetings to Rublox. How are you, Rublox? And MT says, I'm Team Galeta. Yes, yummy. Yes, I have it better, that thing. Greetings also to Francisco. He says, the pan de muerto and the roscas de reyes. Yes, well, it's because they taste really good. Yes, they taste really good. Yes.
I wasn't a fan of it.
Anyway.
Of the ring-shaped bread until this last January 6th. It was this time that we bought it there, at this place.
We bought it fresh for him. Yes, it's very good. The little figurine was covered and is super cute. Very cute, made of ceramic. Greetings to Ernesto Alonso, who says, yes, here in Costa Rica, in some places it rained. It rained a lot in Guanacaste, San Jose de Heredia, and in Cartago, but in Cartago, not much. Greetings. I hope Mexico does well in the World Cup. Greetings, Ernesto.
Thank you very much, Ernesto. So you, in the area where you are over there in Costa Rica?
He is in Costa Rica.
And in the area where you are, was it not too bad, or how was it? Tell us, please. And this one says, Marvin prediction for Mexico versus South Africa. Let's see. Give us your prediction, Marvin. 2-1, 2-1. There it is. I think Mexico will win 2-1. That's it. Greetings, Marvin. MT also says 2-1 in favor of Mexico. MT says, greetings. MT, how are you? Leonardo says, Pepe Yastrit says, I wonder if the enemies of the United States will be able to hack and cause problems for FIFA during the matches.
They're going to try.
Of course, I think so. The issue of cyber warfare especially is going to be one of the most active things they'll try to stir up trouble with there. Greetings, Leonardo. What do you think? I mean, how do you see it, Leonardo? I mean, do you think there could be some trouble in that sense? That would be one of the things that could happen. I mean, it's one of the least bad, let's say. But still, it's a lot of chaos and whatever you want. But I also think other things could happen, right? I mean, besides, I feel like in this case, the Iranians are really into soccer. No, I mean, in the case of the country, yeah. You mean the guys when they go on vacation and cross the pond to be nearby. Eric Marino, I already have the date in mind, but I don't want to say it, so I don't know. Yeah, no, not to go out. So I don't talk about it, but I do have a date. It's not like it's set in stone yet, but obviously I do have a date. But I'd rather not say it until we actually have the tickets in hand, basically, and everything is set. How was the weather that day at the Azteca? I'm asking because of the Teco. Good question. And you can already see it because especially the most accurate weather forecast can be seen about 15 days in advance when it comes to rain, right? So let's just check that. I mean, just by looking at it, because Mexico City isn't hot and I don't think it's going to be too hot right now. But how is the water accumulation going to be, right? I mean, day 11, just the day, just that specific day. We're going on the 10th and the 11th.
It can be reduced?
Yes, it can be reduced. We'll see it on the 10th and 11th in Mexico City. Let's take a look. Give me a moment. By the way, those are the figures. What are they called? Drones.
They were practicing inside today and outside the Azteca.
I don't show it much because I don't know if they'll give me trouble there. But anyway, they were making images with controllers, like Street says, forming soccer figures. Yes, that's right.
Those are people who are outside and they're being recorded.
That's right. Exactly. But anyway, look, let's go to Mexico City. That's on the 10th and the 11th. Forecast, Mexico City. Is it in the south or where is the Azteca Stadium? See if it lets me put it here. This is the Azteca Stadium. Let's see. That's how they show it to me. Look, Simon's house, if it shows it to me. Let's see. So it shows me. Let's see where it puts the stickers.
It came out more than if it had.
Let's see. It's there. It's that little white dot.
Yes, this.
Although at Estadio Azteca, between the 10th and 11th, which is when the match will take place, the water accumulation will be there. It's this point, 18. Yes, it's a lot if you want, but we're not seeing it on the screen.
Sorry, it's fine. I can't see you.
See where it is. There it is. Look, it's this little dot. There's Estadio Azteca, and at that height, there's this fabric. No. Don't move. You weren't supposed to move. Well, at that height, just to be very, very precise, it's 18.8 millimeters of rainfall. So apparently it's going to be rainy, right? I mean, pay attention to that, okay?
And if you feel like it, kick the little boyfriend if you feel like it. It's really embarrassing. It's Pepe, the governor of Jalisco. Guadalajara. Oh, Jalisco. What's the state? It always gets me confused. It's wonderful. Come up here because it says he went to welcome the people from South Korea with mariachi. It says that when he tried to greet them, he put his hand out like this. But nobody greeted him because in Korea, that's not the custom. They just bow and that's it. So the guy is left there with his hand out and at one point he does this. I don't know what. Oh, how embarrassing. I felt so embarrassed and sorry for him. But well, you also have to be informed. Jorge is speaking Spanish to them and the guys don't speak Spanish.
But I don't think they should greet like that. I mean, look, when you go to Japan, you go and do what they do. But if you go to another country, well, what are you expected to do?
Someone told them that he was the governor.
It doesn't matter if it's someone. especially if it's an authority or something like that. But that's just how it is. No.
They're just cultural clashes. Nothing major happens and nobody gets involved. It always rained a lot in the afternoons. I think you live in Tamaulipas, right? Here, even a little rain causes flooding. Fortunately, where I live, it doesn't, but in the neighborhoods on the outskirts, poor people, right? It's just that it's all messed up. Suddenly, that whole thing with the rain, because it's the same here too. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Exactly. It was left hanging. That's how it was, just left hanging. I was just watching it and I thought I imagined that he was left with his hand hanging, but no, he really is left with his hand like that.
You don't happen to have the video.
Let me enjoy this stereotype.
It's considered that day will have moderate rain. Well, I mean, it's not going to be a heavy downpour. I mean, it's significant rain, right? So let's say that's how it's going to be with the temperatures. That same day we'll see it. Supposedly, that's how the day will be. Let's look at the day. The hottest moment will be around 20 degrees. I mean, it's going to be pretty comfortable, but also cold. Supposedly, it won't be like that. Friends from Mexico City. The weather seems way too nice to me. And look, I can already see it here. Look, that's what it seems to me. Around 20 degrees, really hot. But over there in Mexico City on the 11th, it's supposedly going to be 11 degrees. That too. Well, we'll see, right? We'll see if it's really going to be that temperature, but let me reload the page. If that's not what it shows, it's the wind. Well, on the 11th, here it goes. The 11th, it's the same. The hottest time of the day. Because late at night, it's around 13 degrees, 15 degrees. But well, the weather is going to be very nice. The weather is going to be very nice there. If anything, maybe some rain, but not extreme, just moderate rain. Supposedly, no. Good question. And he says, we would have to see it. We have to see it, right? See if we can put the image here.
Yes, look. I would say more. Minute 20 at 27, what happens is that it's the video of the same governor. If they had cut that part, besides, everyone pulls back just like I'm doing here in this little spot. Or yes, I sent it to you.
Let's see.
I said the minute. This one.
It's 40 seconds.
Yes, starting from the 20th,
But it's 40 seconds, yes.
I know. They're asking about the 20th on the 20th. Hey.
Let's see. I mean, let's see. Let's check. A little piece.
They're arriving there. They're from South Korea. And he shakes their hand.
Maybe they don't speak English. Who knows?
No, yes.
Speak English since they're involved. Let's wait for them.
Well, there it is. No, well, that's how this is.
And welcome.
That's right.
And then she says they're not embarrassed for the governor of Jalisco. Koreans are very kind. Even in their country, they discriminate a lot against Mexicans. Maybe they even do it on purpose and get involved in believing in this. Here, I also feel that when the Japanese arrived, they didn't really know who Samuel was. Not just that he was handing out little hats. So you wonder if they even knew him at all. Someone thinks he's an American. Greetings to Marvin. Yes, I heard over here that there was an earthquake in Mexico and greetings were sent this afternoon.
Greetings this afternoon. Yes. About 5 hours ago. That's right. Yes, the Seismological Service posted it. Yes, I have it right here. Look, it was a 4.1. Actually, a 4.2. 4.2, although it was in Oaxaca. And I imagine it was felt in Mexico City, right? Yesterday, I think there were micro earthquakes, right? Did you feel them? I imagine you did. And also 8 hours ago. The 5.2, 5.61 was confirmed. In Guerrero. Yes. 5 point. Well, I think it was 5.5.6 preliminary. You're right. It was 5.2 preliminary, 5.5.6. And then finally it was. Look, it was 5.2, but a depth of 5 kilometers. So it was very shallow there.
The earthquake. Let's go to shallow. It says here Armando and the South Africans are comfortable with the heat. The ones who are really melting are the Norwegians. They are already training in the United States.
What is that?
And they're already lying there without shirts. It almost looks like they're fainted from the heat, poor guys. The man says, and what's coming because the real heat is still coming.
But more like this. Now, yes.
Poor thing, she says.
Don't they like the heat and say they'll come back?
beach. They say yes, it was the people from New Norway. They didn't train at the station either. The New Norwegians are here in Mexico.
That's it. They're in the United States.
In the United States. The ones who don't seem to want to are the Swedes.
The ones from Sweden.
The ones from Sweden, it seems like they don't want to train at Tigres' facilities and they're asking for Barreal. Also the ones from Tunisia. The problem I was telling you about, I was telling Pepe just now in the afternoon that, well, that's what the local media are saying. The local media problem is that they're super pro Tigres. And if they're told that's how it is, they're going to say exactly that. So, well, what the Tigres say is that people from FIFA came because they send someone from FIFA to check that the grass and the conditions are the same as the others of the field. Because they have certain standards, a certain type of grass. And well, they put in the seed and everything, but it hasn't taken because there's been too much rain. And well, that's a problem that you just can't do anything about because of the rain. If it rains, right? Of course, of course. In fact, the one at Barreal isn't looking amazing either because of the rain.
I mean, well, yes, we've been telling them since the beginning of the year. As you saw. I mean, it's been a lot of water. So, yeah, no, they're not in the best condition. The trees are really, really green, but the fields and all that, not really.
Well, just imagine if it's a little damp and people go to train, obviously it gets torn up and so on. So yeah, it became a problem. Greetings to Martin, and you can talk more about the topic of US banks and undocumented immigrants and how their bank accounts get cancelled or blocked.
Yes, we're going to be updating this every day because obviously we know it's very important for the whole community over there. So let's see what happens, right? But I can't give you that answer right now.
What we just talked about right now is the latest information we have. It says Koreans are super rude. I have a friend whose grandmother is Korean, and she says they don't enjoy their visits. They just go for family. Yeah, it's a general issue, not just the topic itself, but also about if they see you're overweight, they'll tell you directly. I watched a video of a girl saying it's her third time. She looks slim to me, just a regular girl, a slim Asian girl, Asian but from the United States, but she moved to Korea. I think she's a mix, like a mix of Chinese and Korean or something, because it's hard to tell exactly. And yes, it's the third time this week that a lady has come up to me and asked, why are you so fat? And it's a really complicated issue because she says they tell you because they think they're doing you a favor. She says, but of course not, right?
That's almost true.
I try to see
If it's true. Let me check the diesel if it stands out and hasn't reached me. I don't have mirrors in the house, so I didn't know. This one, yes, really strange, right? That attitude is really strange. In the meantime, they're doing surveys on whether it's bread or cookies. Imagine that.
It's just that we need to talk about something. She says, I like the eyes on the gift. Greetings to this one too. They already talked a lot about Venegas' song. Maestro, yes. The song was horrible, really. I mean,
I haven't listened to it completely.
I listened to half of it. I mean, yeah, no, I couldn't. It feels like they're giving me a lesson in nerdiness. I mean, really, like she should read it herself. They just didn't get it. Yes, we got it. We got it. That you're giving us a lesson on something that's already been talked about a lot and has been said 1,000 times. I mean, I'm coming.
Besides, it's not that the song is cool.
Not cool.
If the song was cool, then fine.
No, it's catchy, but it's not cool.
No. And she was a girl who, I don't know who would write that? I mean, with all due respect, but, well, yeah.
There she really messed up. I mean.
Yeah, and she sings really well. I mean, I really like her. I mean, but still.
No, she was way too nerdy. Greetings to Mercedes. She says those going to Azteca should use public transport because of traffic and flooding. Did you check the OXXO? Thanks, Mercedes.
Thank you very much, Mercedes. Huge shout out, big shout out.
Greetings, he says. Well, greetings, says Fidel Botella. How are you, Fidel?
Thank you very much to everyone who supports us there. For those in the community who don't know, below in the description, there's an option to support the channel through OXXO, PayPal, and obviously, well, through Super Chat here well, you already know, right?
Marcel says it's awful when someone calls you fat. It's worse when a stranger does it. If it's someone you know, you might respond or say it differently. But for a stranger to just say it out of nowhere, what the heck? And no, it's not really that unusual. The other day I was watching two YouTubers. They're a couple who were traveling through, I think it was Pakistan, but a country like that, Pakistan. And they were on the train and those trains were super crowded. The man says to him, hey, you're very handsome, but your wife looks very unhealthy. I mean, basically saying she was fat, she was overweight.
See, I mean,
A man like that
a man out of nowhere.
out of nowhere. She starts talking to him and telling him he's too good looking to be with his girlfriend right there in his wife's face. And the wife, she just stays super serious but with a little embarrassed smile. Him, and until he, because she kept insisting the YouTuber tell her, you can't say that to his face. And she replies, but I'm not saying it in a bad way. I mean, you're better looking than her. So why are you with her? Why did you marry her? Like, what's up with this whole thing?
Really nice.
Really nice. But it's weird. They don't realize they're offending someone, even when saying it directly to their face, as if the person isn't there.
Very strange.
Very strange. Martin says, today I was paying with PayPal and they asked me to update with an image. And they asked me for my ID, passport, and green card. Oh, Martin, they asked you for all that.
Yes. That's getting very intense. Now, all that stuff. Yes.
Martin says, almost all Koreans get eye surgery, right? Starting at around 12 or 13 years old, there's a boom in surgeries for kids so they can have the crease here. How strange, right? That they get so hung up on that topic. Greetings. It says, I have a cousin who really looks like a joke. She's gonna ask for it. It says, cultural clashes are tremendous. Yes, they are. They're tremendous, and you have to be very understand that it's not because they're rude, right? Well, yes, they might also feel that some things are rude, but that's not the case.
Yes, they are. But I mean, whatever, right? I mean, it's not like you're going to get hung up on those things either. Yes, especially if you're interested in like traveling somewhere or whatever, you have to learn not to.
Or if you're going to get offended. Yeah. You have to let it slide off you like you're made of soap.
Leonardo says, Pepe, thanks for your work. You're the best. Thanks, Leonardo.
Thank you very much, Leo.
And Marvin says, but you sure use Criafra's products. They're really good, Marvin. They're so obsessed with beauty that they create excellent beauty products. Yes, so well.
Yeah, they really get into that topic.
Yes, they really get into it. Greetings to Panterito and CBTS. CBTS is there taking money from everyone.
What is the official World Cup song? I don't know which one it is.
It's Shakira's.
Shakira's.
Yeah, I haven't even listened to it.
You haven't listened to it all the way through either? No. The only one I've listened to all the way through. And it's just, okay, it's the one by Speed.
The Speed one, yeah.
Well, it's what you'd expect from a song like that. Kind of like a World Cup song, right? But other than that, no. Honestly, no. He says, I don't use Korean stinker. It doesn't, no, they don't give you confidence. Okay. He says they get a lot of surgery in Korea, not very natural. He says, yeah, no. Like they don't care about that part, like for everything, right? Really young. Yeah, no. Nose and everything, like for everything, like that.
There's a girl who, well, she's of Korean origin, although she was here since she was a baby until I don't know how many years. And then she went back to Korea. She had a boyfriend whose family didn't like her because she was overweight. And since the boyfriend was really set on staying with her, they paid for her to get liposuction. The boyfriend's family did. So he wouldn't see her that way. Because the grandmother didn't accept her because she was overweight. I mean, nobody accepted her because of that. So they insisted, like, no, we're going to pay for you to get liposuction. Imagine going through all that trouble to give your son's girlfriend liposuction just so people won't talk badly, so she doesn't look bad in society. It's really weird, says Marta. Go ahead, Martin.
That's really serious.
It's really serious.
We need to recheck the substance.
Martin says, PP, if you had money in US banks and you had to take it out, what would you do? Where would you put it? Let's see.
If you had a conversation
in US banks and you have to take it out, what do you do? Where do you put it? Offshore banks charge you a lot for transactions.
Yes.
You mean a small amount of money, like cash or something?
Or what do you mean by money?
She says, help. What do I do with the money from the banks in the United States? Okay, yes, that's going to be an issue. In fact, one of the criticisms they make is because of what we just mentioned right now, that there will be many groups, even organized crime, that will obviously take advantage of this and say, look, I can move that money. I'll charge you, but I'll handle moving the money.
And that's an issue. I would look into how it's already handled. I mean, what the legal protocol is regarding crypto and all this stuff. Because there are serious platforms in this field. Yeah, a lot of practice, right? Because yeah, they're not going to do it like that the first time with their savings or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, it's relatively simple, right? Yeah. So obviously we would have to see how the United States handles it. Because honestly, I don't know about that part. But usually it's handled pretty well. And normally that because I have friends who are over there and who even do their companies that hire them, their friends I already mentioned who work here, but they're over there. They put their bonuses and things like that into funds, or for example the S&P 500 or things like that. And what you can do yourself is, for example, move it through here, CRP, which Jalal has mentioned to us several times. I've used it, to move, like, let's say if you want to move $300 from an account you had, for example, in, what's it called, the crypto one here in Mexico.
BTC?
Yeah, it's something like that. It's called Bitso. So I wanted to send it to, yeah. And so, well, everything charged you, right? Anything, it charged you. That's how it was. And with XRP, you send it with XRP, from XRP, you transfer it to, you make the transfer, which are like 2 keys they give you. And those 2 keys you send to Venus, not to the Minds account, because in Minds you have your own key. So you tell the Bitso account to this key, I want you to send those $100 I have there, just to say. And then, well, it goes in 5 minutes. That's it. You can already see it on your other platform. And that's it. It's that simple. They're done. No, it's a shame Hala isn't here right now, I think. But they thought, in fact, their first promo said this crypto was for migrants. In fact, in a good part of the videos that appeared, they always showed Mexican or Latino migrants in the United States. I feel like it's just a lack of knowing how things work over there, right? He says, look, Minas, I can send everyone. Look, I don't. First of all, what I'm going to do is something like a test, or you send $10, for example. Yeah, or you send your $10 or something like that. Try it. If it gets lost, well, you say, I lose $10. No, you're not going to send something important. Just practice, right? Or does the control move? Check it out. Anyway, very well. I'm also going to look into it so I can talk about it here. What is the most legal, the most, let's say, realistic and simple way to do it? But you should also look into it, right? And our friends here, if they have any ideas, right? Or if they've already done it, because I've done it in Mexico. But here in Mexico, well, it's all good, all set. Very smooth, and very legal too, right? Here, those platforms, like I said, are totally legal, and you have to report everything for taxes and all that. So everything is all good in the United States. From what I understand, I also want to ask my friends who are over there or who work here, but with companies from there, to see how they're doing it and to see if they have any idea about that. Here for me, it's halal, says Binks, a safe platform. Well, I don't know it. But there's halal, the one Binks knows. I use Bitso and Binks, basically. Those are the ones I've used for years and I've never had any problems. Just be very careful. Really practice, because it's simple, though. It has its own tricks and quirks. Practice, move $5, $10, something that won't hurt you to lose. If you have a problem, like entering something wrong or copying information incorrectly, it can get lost. So if they ask you, be very careful. Be sure to check all the information and enter it correctly. It's basically just a key you copy and paste, right? Paste it closed. That's correct. It says Binks, Bing, Civili, Sol Garcia, and there it is. Panterita says Dinas. Several here have already used some platforms, right? And the joke about Nova's dad,
Who says the joke is for the grumpy ones. The captain of a ship that is sinking desperately shouts, "Is there anyone on board who knows how to pray with devotion?" Yes, me. Perfect. Because we're missing a life jacket. So that guy won't get a chance.
He won't get
To get a chance. The other day there were a bunch of jokes. A dad goes to the pediatrician with his newborn baby and says, "My son doesn't open his eyes." The doctor says, "You're the one with your eyes shut because the baby is Chinese."
this one.
Does the son of Mago Frank live? Do you remember him? Yes, of course, the one from Claro, the rabbit, the white rabbit, bless, of course, right?
The one who doesn't remember.
He married the Korean woman, and they both work in beauty products and are doing well. Miguel is a YouTuber, and Mina is very nice. That's great.
Okay. I guess he has his YouTube channel. It says, are you Team Cookie or Team Sweetbread? Sweetbread 61 cookies, 39. Oh,
It can be.
That's very good.
Gentlemen, you failed me. It's true. Come on.
I thought I am a
You like them? Not that much.
40%. Weird?
That much 40%.
I mean, that's a lot.
We're weird, I said.
No, they're weird.
It's just that a lot of people say they're both. But let's see. Those who are really both, be honest. If tomorrow they told you the diet is going to disappear or bread is going to disappear, choose one like Sophie's Choice. What would you do? Even if you cry, well,
For me, bread always stays, and a cookie.
a good crunchy cookie, says Leonardo Pepe. According to what I heard on Video Politica, they said that only in August, with the impact of the crisis come visual politics, they said that only in August it will impact all types of interests and the IAS.
Yes, well, today we mentioned that above all, if the energy problem extends until August, the problem is going to get bigger. We talked about it today, I think, in one of the live streams in the morning. The problem isn't just about inflation, because someone actually mentioned during Obama's time, oil reached $140. Well, first correction, it wasn't during Obama's time. It was during George Bush's time when it reached $140. Just to clarify, right? And then another important point is that it was Bush Jr., Jr. And another important point is that it's one thing for something to go up or down in price and then recover in a week or two. It's no big deal. Even if it's a month or so. But if the problem drags on, then it's there. It could be a more serious situation, and I would have to check because I don't know. I don't remember how long it lasted. Just need to check the dates. There. In the, in the trading view. I'd have to check. How was oil doing at that time when it hit $140? Let's see if I can find it quickly, so I don't take too long on that. But yeah, how long did the problem last? What I'd like to know is exactly how long the price stayed at $140. Because if it didn't last long, then there really wouldn't be a reason for it to be a gotcha. It happened. It happened in 2008. Notice how the problem is very different. Just look, yes, 2008. Let's see. Check the date for 2008.
Let's see if it's correct.
It's July 2008. Let's see if it was Obama or Bush. But as far as I remember, it should be July 2008, right?
To my knowledge, he didn't come in until later, but
Oh, well.
Let's check it anyway. And I'll check it too. Up to Bush. Yes, it was Bush. So look, here's the chart. Let's see if we can put it here. He came in January 2009. Well, so a lot of people get confused there because the elections or the campaigns with Obama were happening, but Bush was still in office here. It reached $140, right? The oil. Notice how in July it went up to $140. If by August, which was this one, well, a month later it was already at 104, and the next month it was at $36. Okay, there it is. It dropped really low. In 2 months, oil was already really low, and then it recovered a little and stayed around there at about $50. That's about it. But what I'm getting at is that it was a problem, right? Obviously, it wasn't a problem because it was too fast. Look at how quickly it went up and down. The problem we have right now, let's get to the point of what we're experiencing at this moment, is that it's already been 3 months. Yes. Notice how the problem is dragging on. It went up. Yes, it went up a lot. But the thing is, it's staying up there. That's the problem, right? So, well, that's why, right? Someone who was super pro Trump left. And with that, I heard on social media, did you say Trump in Obama's time? I don't know what. Well, no, it wasn't during Obama's time. It was during Bush's time, and it didn't last long. The price went up and down and actually dropped even more than it usually was. So in this case, it went up and it's staying high. That's the problem we're seeing right now. You see the increase and it stays, right? Let's extend it a little so we can see how the chart looks as it stays up. It goes from March 10, which is when and right now we're in June, right? And it stays in this range. Now, so far at least, it's doing this. It goes down, and up. It's probably going to go up because it's already picking up momentum, but it goes down and then up again. So the price was here, right? The price did this, and this is where all of that is happening. Now it's staying up. The price was down, it was around $60. Yes, about $65 on average here, right? And then this with this, if it's all scratched up, just imagine.
And I don't know what this means, but it looks nice. The lines, like it's really, well, it says everything is going to fall. And I think a new Great Depression is coming. Well, look, that's exactly what it says. They say if this continues until August, until September, I mean, the problem will go on. So inflation is going to happen. And when inflation comes, possibly by the end of the year or by 2027, there could be a recession, right? Maybe, hopefully they're wrong about that, but you know, it could be true. Hey, well, let's go, right?
Let's go, guys. Remember that we're on WhatsApp and Telegram, and we send you notifications about the live streams and the latest, most important things happening at the moment. We're on Facebook, X, and Insta.
A hug, take care. Have an excellent weekend. Tomorrow we'll talk about movies and series at the end of the live stream, so don't leave early, stay until the end. And we'll keep talking. Let's all be well. A hug. See you later. See you tomorrow. See you soon.
We interrupt your regular programming. Thank you for tuning into the truth. This is PP Live.
The truth is intense, the unusual is real. We analyze it here, global focus. Don't miss out, tune in to the PP Live channel. Stay locked on the PP Live signal, telling it like it is. Raw journalism, respect matters here. Turn on alerts, don't lose track until next time.
Yes, sir. We're taking attendance. Subscribe.